this S&T Group press conference this morning on the course of the plenary session held in Brussels this week. It's my pleasure to welcome Iratxe García Perez, our group president, and I will hand over to her now. And then we have time for your questions in the room and, of course, remote. Iratxe.
Gracias, Uta. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to begin by thanking you for coming to this press conference before the plenary session of February. There are various points on the agenda which I think deserve attention. First of all, obviously, the question that's been in the public eye for last week and this week, which is the vaccination strategy. So I'll begin with this point. First of all, I would like to underscore that this is a European instrument. For the first time, we have set up a European vaccination plan with a clear objective, which is to reach 70% of the European population by the end of the summer, to ensure that they can be vaccinated by then. And it's true that the beginning of the road has had its difficulties, but I would like to stress the value of having a European instrument that has made it possible to avoid getting into confrontation and conflict between member states, fighting over different quantities and different prices of vaccines at a time where we know how difficult it is to meet world demand for these precious vaccines. So I think it has been a positive thing to be able to not only guarantee the single market, but also solidarity between member states. As regards the management of the instrument, well, there were some clear errors at the beginning of the process linked to the failure of one pharmaceutical company in particular to meet the terms of the contract, AstraZeneca, that is, with delays in supply and due to problems which they're working to overcome. But we are going to have to ask some fundamental questions. We must be constructive. Any criticism must be constructive to ensure that we can improve the instrument and ensure that we achieve our aim, which is to reach our vaccination goal. Secondly, we are not giving a blank check to the Commission. We think that it is important to support the Commission in developing this instrument and taking it further, but we also have to call on the Commission to be transparent. Transparency is what we need at the moment. And I think it's important to know how the Commission is managing things. I mean, it's important for citizens to know we're investing 2.7 billion euros of taxpayers' money, as well as 750 million from member states. So this is public money, and therefore we need transparency about its use. So it is important to find a way of coordinating our actions and ensuring that the Commission supplies information to the Parliament. There are two commissioners who are involved from the medical point of view and the point of view of the dealings with the pharmaceutical industry. So that is Breton and Kyriakides. And so we need to have a way of cooperating with the European Parliament to shed light on all of these management matters. We want to be constructive. We want to help the European Commission in performing its task. But of course, we demand high standards to achieve our final objective. There's a lot of uncertainty amongst the European population about this matter. We see that outside the EU, there are other countries who are managing more quickly to achieve their vaccination goals. And we know that this is not an easy process. We know that achieving a European instrument for nearly 500 million people, it's no easy task. So we understand the problems, but we are being demanding from a point of view of constructive criticism, as I have said. Our political group proposed So we understand the problems, but we are being demanding from a point of view of constructive criticism, as I have said. Our political group proposed that we should have a hearing in the Conference of Presidents with the top executives of the pharmaceutical companies as part of this transparency exercise. And there are other important issues on the agenda. We're talking, of course, today about the Recovery and Resilience Facility. This is an instrument that the S&D group has worked very hard on over the last months. Our position has been very clear from the start of the pandemic, which is that we need an effective recovery plan so that we can help strategic sectors and also give momentum to the economic recovery that we need after the devastation of the pandemic. So we have an instrument, we have a means of getting to work to mitigate the effects of the crisis so that we don't react in the same way as we did to the banking crisis in 2008, which was austerity. Now we're not doing this. We are investing, we are improving, modernizing our economies, but with a clear European approach. And the RRF focuses on environmental sustainability, digitalization, and the social dimension as main priorities. Other important reports are on the circular economy. Our group demanded a strategy during the last parliamentary term, calling for more work on this important point for sustainability. And also there's an oral question about how COVID is affecting young people. Of course, the economic crisis is going to affect the most vulnerable in society, and in particular the access of young people to the labour market. But it's not just a question of their access to the labour market, it's to housing or anything that enables young people to develop. And of course, we've got the anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and the Abortion Act in Poland. We'll be debating, participate in that debate, because I think it is absolutely vital to take the lead on defending women's rights in Europe. And I stress once again, women in Poland are not alone. Women in Europe have always supported the struggle of Polish women that they have taken to the streets, and we will continue that struggle in the European Parliament, even if there are some people, of course, who wish to stifle this debate. But we will continue to stand up for women's rights wherever we can. And there's clearly a debate on Russia this afternoon. You're fully aware of what happened during our High Representative's visit to Moscow. I know there were differing opinions on this, and the S&D group's position is that we defend the actions of the High Representative in carrying out his mandate that was conferred on him by the foreign ministers of the EU. And I would like to stress that the courage displayed by the High Representative in going to Moscow to defend Europe's views, to raise questions of human rights, to raise the question of Navalny and issues of concern to Europe at the moment. So I think it is vital that in the debate this afternoon we can focus on the relations between the EU and Russia and see how we can improve the European Union's strategic autonomy in our foreign relations in general. And of course, there are other important reports on the agenda of this part session. There's the trafficking in human beings report, which is an important one for me. In this report, we talk about the need to guarantee that member states define as a criminal offence the conscious use of the services of the victims of trafficking. So I'm talking about demand for prostitution. I think this is an important step forward by this Parliament. It's important that we should start talking about the need to classify as a crime the use of prostitution where the prostitutes have been trafficked. And there are many other important issues, of course, so I'm very happy to answer any further questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Iratxe. Now it is time for question. Are there any questions in this room? No, I'm checking for online. Do we have? I see that. I think there's one hand raised. Is it possible, Griselda?
Sí.
Can we connect with Griselda? Pastor? Griselda, we cannot hear you. Can you press your speak button? Now, is it possible? Griselda, can you try once more to push this, press the speak button, please? We cannot hear you. Okay, then I would suggest if you can hear my, that we then bilaterally on your question. With this said, I would like to thank you, Iratxe, and thank you all and wishing you a good week. Merci.